I was always interested in military history from the time I was old enough to be interested, and my dad and three of my uncles served in World War II, so I guess I was always interested in what they did. And I was out of school about a little over a year, and a couple of my friends, the draft was breathing down their neck and they were going to join the Guard, and so they kept talking to me, well, you better join. So on the 30th of September, the last day of the fiscal year, the three of us all joined the unit there in Hiawatha. Ironically, we all heard it on the radio before anybody knew about it. Even the guy that was the battery commander, he always thought he'd be notified, before it was announced on the radio, but that didn't happen. When I first got in country and was assigned to the DIVARTY, I had to go up and report in and have a interview with the DIVARTY executive officer on what unit I might be assigned to. And of course they knew that I was a National Guardsman, so I think there was some reluctance there on what unit they were going to assign me to. And finally I got assigned to the 1st of the 5th Field Artillery, which happens to be the oldest unit that's been on consecutive active duty in the Army since March the 1st, 1776. We basically were just doing a reconnaissance and force mission pretty close to the Cambodian border, and suddenly we ran into a group of NVA regulars that obviously were preparing to set up for us, but they weren't quite ready yet. That battle actually lasted all day and into the night and up into the next day. But sometimes I was getting pretty concerned that they were getting pretty close to some of our flanks, so I had to move around to where I could best adjust artillery. I'd made my mind up that I was going to be able to do everything as good as the active duty guys and hopefully better. My artillery battalion commander told me that he had quite a bit of reluctance when he assigned me out to this unit as a forward observer, but he said those days are long gone, and that made me feel pretty good that he had a lot of confidence in me. I enjoyed being a battery commander because you were very close to the troops. You saw in the field, you saw soldiers every day and talked to them. I was also a battalion commander of the 127th Field Artillery and enjoyed that. I've really enjoyed every job that I had. I can't say that I ever had an assignment that I didn't like. I had a couple that I thought I wasn't going to like, but I actually enjoyed it after I got into it. And I can contribute all the success to the people that I've worked with, because if you don't have good people working for you, you're probably not going to be successful, and they're not either. So I served with a lot of good soldiers. One day General Bunning came into my office and said, I want you to stand up the Joint Staff, and I want you to be the first Chief of Staff. So I kind of had to hit the ground running after that. But, you know, the biggest challenge here was you really didn't have the manpower to do it with. So a lot of people had two jobs. Sometimes they'd have to do some joint staff stuff, and then they had their daily full-time job, which took up most of their time anyway. But we worked through most of those challenges. I can remember when I joined and I got my first ID card, and it was for 6 years. And so when you're 18 years old, 6 years is a long time. You know, it's almost half of your lifetime. Starting out as a private and retiring as a colonel and spending over 40 years, to me, was an achievement that not everybody can say they did. I couldn't have done any of it without the help of my wife and all the good people that I served with. Yeah, I mean, if you think you're really important, put your hand in a bucket of water and pull it out and see how big a hole's left. And that's kind of how I looked at life, you know. I was fortunate that my parents were a good Christian family and installed values in me at an early age that have stayed with me all my life.